Good afternoon. We have a special guest speaker for you today. Please give a warm welcome to the hosts of My Gym Partners, a podcast. Attendance is mandatory.
Bullshark, porcupine, I don't know what. Doing this podcast is a pain in the... Cats. Meow, 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 meow. In the moonlight, the cats play in the moonlight. None of us have seen Cats, the movie.
No,
Can't
we
you
haven't.
tell?
We absolutely haven't. It's a bad joke to open with. I want to see Cats, y'all.
Anyone at least see the Broadway musical Cats?
No.
Or any?
You think I have the money to see Broadway?
You think
Come on.
You think I can go see a big production picture flick about a bunch of dancing naked cats? No way.
Wait, Renee, you and your limousine just pulled up to Broadway and just watched the Broadway production of Cats in 19 whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Look, maybe I didn't mean Broadway specifically, alright? I was just asking.
Did y'all know that the cats have sex in that movie?
No.
Yes.
They have sex, apparently, which I think is kind of perverted and fucked up.
I think that might be illegal.
Speaking of perverted and fucked up, welcome to My Gym Partners, a podcast. The
podcast about being perverted and fucked up, I guess.
No. Okay, I want to preface this episode with something.
Yes.
I take back every negative thing I've ever said about this show.
This has happened so many times.
I know.
It's happened at least like 3 times for each of us individually. Like each of us have maybe 3 or 4 separate times went, I take it back. I take it all back. The show's good.
No.
I'm not going back on that after the butt episode. You can't make me.
No.
Which
okay.
one?
Now listen, hear me out. There was something about the energy of these 2 episodes, specifically in Adam Lyon's character, that if you did not endure through the rest of the seasons, like if you didn't watch every episode and just feel that build up, wouldn't be as funny as it is to us who have been watching this show since the beginning.
Especially the first episode that we watched. If you're going by the Boomerang timeline.
The Boomerang AU.
Why are the A and B episodes switched in the Boomerang streaming service? Boomerang, you need to rearrange your streaming services. You need to fix this with the thing. You need to add the musical episode to the Boomerang app. You need to add the Secret Saturday show. All right,
Renee,
both seasons.
Look at our funding, Renee.
All right.
Not that they do that. Boomerang,
No.
please, for the love of God, please give us a sponsorship.
Just give us a month's subscription or something. No, you know what's really funny is before this episode started, we were talking about how we're nearing kind of the end of this podcast. We're gonna run out of episodes not super soon. It'll definitely be mid-year. But Renee was like, well, my Boomerang subscription ends in June or something, so we better be done before then because I'm not resubscribing.
Who knows, everybody? Maybe you'll get a resurgence of My Gym Partners, a podcast in this 2020. By the way, happy 2020, everybody.
This is the first My Gym Partners, a podcast of the new year. How are we all feeling? New Year's resolutions? Mine is to be done with this show forever.
Mine is to maybe move on to bigger and better things like
Wink.
Did we already talk about...
No, we haven't talked about our potential next project, and it's still workshopping, so...
It's still something that Renee's very opposed to doing, but... Renee...
We're not doing... Well, I'm not doing...
Bleep that out. Bleep that out. We can't have somebody steal it.
I'm bleeping it out, but I think that makes it funny. Because just the ambiguous nature. Renee, we're gonna get you to do it. Come on. Anyway,
please, Renee. It's only a couple. It's not. It's you were on for this rodeo. This was like a 2-year investment. There's no way. Bleep that out.
You're giving me a lot of work in post.
I'm not going to say it anymore. I'm just saying we gotta do it anyway.
A mid-semester's life stream.
Just started off like in there. I gotta say, I think the energy with this episode is exemplary of a lot of Cartoon Network shows that have like long ran and are like in their like late seasons.
God, yeah, Chowder kind of felt like this, didn't it?
Chowder, Billy and Mandy is what I was thinking more so, where like
Flapjack.
Just like in the late seasons of Billy and Mandy is when it like really went off the wall. Like in the beginning, like you have your premise, right? You know, like 2 kids, they like trick the Grim Reaper to like lose in like a limbo contest so that they have him as a friend forever. All right, you know, you get into like some supernatural shenanigans and stuff. Late season, it gets off the wall. You know,
it gets like specific.
They just like use the show as a vessel for their specific references to just do whatever the fuck. You know, have characters be out of character for the sake of like just jokes about how out of character they are. It's just like it feels like purgatory, and like I'm not saying it's bad because it's actually fun in its own way to see like a Cartoon Network show specific. I feel like this happens with just Cartoon Network shows in that specific era with like their comedy shows, because they just get to a point where they just feel like weird. They either go through the motions or they just go off the wall. Like, forget it. You know, fourth wall, who needs that? You know,
we just constantly reference the fact that we're a cartoon.
30-year-old reference the Breakfast Club. Let's do it. Come on.
It's like you can feel within like Cartoon Network shows of this era. It's like you can feel that they know that they don't have much longer, like on the network, and they just keep like doing just weird bullshit. Like Chowder was really bad about it in like maybe even the 3rd or 4th season, because I just remember like there just being episodes that were like really strangely specific, and I don't know, had a lot of emphasis on Endive's ass. Maybe I'm imagining things, but I feel like that was
you just had a lot of emphasis on that.
I didn't have a lot of no, there's an episode where they crawl up her back and she's like a mountain.
You're not wrong.
Speaking of mountains, I don't know how to make this a smooth transition. We're in Mr. Hornbill's class, Stray in school. He's complimenting Lion. He's saying, "Wow, I haven't seen quite, improvement."
You just called him Lion.
Yeah, Mr. Lion. You know.
I wrote down Lion in my notes because that's what Mr. Hornbill calls him. He's like, Mr. Lion.
Good job, Mr. Lion. You have like grown so much, and Adam's like, "Thank you, Mr. Hornbill."
Yeah, Adam, like, we'll say this a lot. I feel like this is going to be reoccurring in these 2 episodes. Adam is not himself. I don't know what they did to him. I think they broke him for real. So he's talking to Jake after class. You know, Jake's like, "Oh man, like, what a useless class." But Adam's like, "No, I'm really starting to learn a lot of stuff about my hooves and my leathery skin."
And then it has like one of those classic paintings, those details of Adam Lyon's skin, and it's leathery, that's funny. And Adam's like, "I love it here. I am not different whatsoever. I have been this way the whole time."
Yeah, Adam is really fitting in, really just like accepting his fate, I think. He's like, I don't even care anymore. His eye, like, one of his eyes strays away.
He's been truly broken. This is like him at his point of no return.
I'd like to also mention that, like, you know, it really feels off in this scene, like, how, like, Adam is just, like, you know, he's twitching, he's going wall-eyed and stuff, and Jake's like, hey, Adam, are you okay? You don't look right. That like, strange tic does not get referenced at all for the rest of this episode. That, like, incident is just not mentioned. It's just like an instance where they can, like, bring in, like, this plot device of rainbow animal sweets. That gets brought up later, but not...
Adam...
Go ahead.
Adam in this episode, like you were saying, Renee, when I first heard Jake say, like, Adam, you seem a little different, I thought that was gonna be, like, you know,
the point of the episode.
The point of the episode. But, like, then right after that, you gave me the info. You told me that's never brought up again. And that's so, like, I don't know. This episode made me feel weird. It's my favorite one. They, like, stick out their tongues, and, like, Adam's tongue is, like, really, like, crooked and wiggly looking.
Yeah, they eat these rainbow animal sweets, which, like, turns their tongue all rainbowy and stuff. It's like eating rainbows, but you're not. I think that's what they say. I don't know.
Something like that.
Yeah, they enter Miss Chameleon's class, and they got their rainbow tongues sticking out. They're, like, giggling a mess.
Yeah, Miss Chameleon is in, like, a monologue, and she's like, Adam, lie, and she, like, smells the candy scent or whatever.
Smells the rainbow tongue smell, I guess.
Yeah, and she's like, when I was your age, I was chasing real rainbows. And we get a little bit of, like, chameleon backstory.
She looks up into the sky, and the way that they, like, focus it, the delivery of this joke is pretty dang good, because I just love the way Miss Chameleon's like, when I was your age, I was chasing real rainbows. And she just has this, like, smile on her face.
I really love Miss Chameleon. I'm glad we got to see her at her best here, because she's telling us the story about how she wanted to be, like, an actor, and she was going to be, like, famous movie star, and she went to an audition with some famous actor, but she...
Charleston Festoon. I wonder who that's referencing.
I don't know. I don't even know who you're talking about, Renee.
Charleston Heston, the Playboy guy.
Get it?
Yeah.
Never heard of him in my life.
Gert, why don't you get cultured? I think that would benefit you, because you have to know these kinds of things if you're going to watch a sophisticated show like My Gym Partner's a Monkey.
You're right.
Go read some Nietzsche before you get on this podcast again.
Anyway, she fails the audition.
I'll do my homework.
She fails the audition pretty badly because she sees a worm and she just can't resist the worm. And I was like, oh, okay, so she's gonna, like, eat it, you know, stick out her, you know, tongue, you know, and get it. Yeah. But it's like a big, wide, sticky tongue.
It's a wall of flesh.
Like, look, I'll be honest. I did not remember this episode at all until I watched that part. That's the only part I remember of this episode, and I think it scared me, honestly.
It's a little scary because it moves slowly and it moves with precision. Like, there's a man standing there in the way of, like, the worm holding, like, a boom mic or a camera or something, and her tongue, like, goes over him around, and then it, like, smashes the worm.
Like, it's a big, like, from above thing. It's like the Thing or something.
Yeah, it's also dripping constantly and making, like, like it's making that noise. That was good audio, right?
You
Y'all got that?
I didn't like this. This honestly, call me a pussy willow, but it's just I don't like it, man.
I don't like it, man.
So because of this incident, Miss Chameleon has realized that she had stage fright, and she's just too scared to ever perform again. And she like starts crying, and that sad piano music is playing, and she's on Adam's arm, and he's like petting her, and he's like, "Oh, that's like there's like a joke I thought was so funny," and where she's lamenting like, "Oh, every time I'm on, like, I disappear." She like camouflages every time she gets scared on stage. And Adam says in a like very cheery tone, "Oh, you can disappear because you're a chameleon." Like, why did he say that?
Also, like the way that Adam holds out his arm and Miss Chameleon gently like crawls onto his arm to stay,
like an actual chameleon. I really like that detail.
I do too. It's really fucking funny. And just like again, Adam Lyon being very strange.
Yeah.
Like, there, Miss Chameleon. You turn color because you chameleon.
You would think at this point, because Miss Chameleon is kind of just staying on his arm now for a while, and you think, alright, this is where Adam gets fed up, and it's like, oh, I don't want Miss Chameleon on my arm. What do you mean you're gonna amputate me, Nurse Gazelle? But no.
Yeah, they go to, like, right after this, there's a scene where Adam is at Nurse Gazelle's office, and she's like, I'm gonna have to amputate your arm, and Adam's like the Civil War? Wow! Like he doesn't care.
He's like that?
He's like excited. He wants them to cut off his fucking arm because he doesn't have anything left. He just wants. He doesn't care. And
like even further to that point is like, she's like, oh well, it'll be worse because I don't have a saw. And then he doesn't go like, like Adam normally was. He's like, oh.
He's like, aw, shoot, shucks.
Yeah.
Nurse Gazelle says, and I quote, I'll have to rip it off.
I'll have to dislocate your arm with my own 2 hooves. And then he just responds, ooh, just like my hooves. And he like gestures his hands, like referencing how he learned about his hooves from Mr. Horn.
Referencing how he has hooves. He has hooves. He thinks he has hooves.
He's absolutely lost it. And it's funny because this episode isn't even like focused on the fact. It's not like the plot revolves around Adam losing his mind. It's just happening in the background of this other plot, like the main.
And that's what makes it so fascinating. It's shit like this that makes me remember this show to this day. When, like, I sat there as a fucking dumb baby, like, staring at this show for literally, like, hours a day, and then one of them happens like this, where one of the characters is just slightly different. Just, not even slightly. They're just a fucking different guy. Adam is, like, strange.
He maintains this character shift throughout the episode without skipping a beat. He's very cheery here, and it's off-putting, and I kind of really like it. Immediately after the Nurse Gazelle scene, we cut to Windsor, and it's like, she seems to be suffering from a acute phobia of stage fright. And so Adam asking, what should we do about this? Then Windsor, Jake, and Slips all in unison say, we're gonna have to use systematic desensitization.
I think it's interesting. So y'all remember how Miss Chameleon was on Adam's arm, and it was like, oh yeah, that must be the reason that they're like going through all this effort to like help her. But no, that doesn't matter. After like the scene, they just like this. They're just helping.
Miss Chameleon is just like off of Adam's arm by the screen transition. She's just off of Adam's
They're
arm,
just
and
helping
that's
her
not
now.
a worry
like,
anymore.
They're just helping
That's
her
not the-
because I guess they don't have shit to do at their school. I like that better. There's no selfishness involved in this.
We don't have Adam complaining every few minutes that Miss Chameleon is on his arm and how he hates helping people or having empathy. He's just doing this.
In this, Adam has infinite empathy.
It's true. Adam, Windsor, Slips, and Jake now embark on an endeavor to teach Miss Chameleon that fear is not to be afraid of, and you always have to face your new fears. So they start by just kind of each giving a little like word of wisdom, and they all like clap after each other.
A step.
They're trying to
take a big step.
Yeah, there's like a literal step in like the school. They're like, we're just gonna step up here, step down, like say something, step down. And when Miss Chameleon does it, she like very slowly reaches out one of her little chameleon arms and then just like kind of gently rolls over off her branch and like lands on her head, and she like lays there and starts like cradling.
Her face is just locked in this look of absolute horror.
I can't describe how like weirdly like fascinating this whole scene is. That like you mentioned like, you know, they're like saying a word of wisdom about like, you know, like stuff that goes on for a while.
Yeah,
where
it
like
does.
they each like give a quote like Windsor says there's nothing to fear but fear itself, and then they're all clapping
Yeah,
like, ooh,
fear.
yeah,
And then
fear
like
itself.
Slips comes
Yeah.
on, he just goes, fear. And then like after
Ooh,
all of
yeah,
this is
fear,
already
yeah.
carried on for a bit. Mrs. Warthog walks
By like, you know, 4 characters like jumping off of like a step and saying like some like inane like reference to fear. Miss Warthog is just like walking out of the doors, takes a step down, quietly like going across like through the quad. She like pauses, turns around under a tree, and Apple falls on her, and then she falls down unconscious. And then they all just like clap.
Partners a Monkey was directed by David Lynch. It's what it feels like. It feels like everything that happens just like has some kind of weird symbolic meaning.
So they decide the next thing that we can do to help her is skydiving. And I think this is like where I realized that I was having a fun time, because she like, I can't remember if they push her out or she like jumps out, and they realize that they haven't given her like a parachute, but they kind of like Windsor, Jake and Adam are like standing there like looking down as she's like just fallen off or whatever, and they're just kind of like very like calm about it, and they kind of like laugh about it. They're like, oh, we probably should have given her this parachute. Ha ha ha.
They're
Like,
just all
to each
laughing.
other.
Slips like comes in and like is standing with them, and they're like, Slips, who's driving the plane if you're here? And he just goes, whoa!
And there's like a really funny shot of like Miss Chameleon like falling to her doom, and you could see the plane like nose dive in the distance. It's so funny.
There's just a lot of insanity here, like with like, you know. This is also the point where I realized that like Adam has just like lost his brain cells, because he's just sounds exactly like Windsor, Slips, and Jake in this instance. He's just one of them now.
All 4 of them are like
they're like the pack opposite to Adam.
Yeah.
Like,
they're all the pack. Like, Adam is part of the pack in this instance, and Miss Chameleon is the Adam.
but even so, like Miss Chameleon, even though she's in the Adam role, isn't like really like vindictive towards like the pack. Like, you know, they're like helping her, and like she's still like appreciative of it. Like at the end of this scene, they're like, you know, of course, like you get like a mattress delivery. Oh, you ordered 12 dozen mattresses, 3 dozen mattresses. And of course, Miss Chameleon falls of them. And then the plane falls on all of them.
But the last challenge here is they take her to get some froyo, and they kind of mystically talk about how, ooh, who knows how you get brain freezes. It's, the fear of the unknown is because you eat it too fast or you eat too much of it. She's like, phooey. She eats
It's
shit
eating
ton
it
of
too.
it, and
It's eating it too fast. I am almost positive that that's
Oh, are you a scientist? Do you know that for a fact?
I am a scientist. I feel like listen.
Okay.
If you eat a lot of ice cream over a long period of time, then I don't see that being a problem. Your body's gonna heat that shit up, make it real warm. But if you eat it very fast, then what happens? You keep piling cold material.
Yeah, that's the scientific term.
Cold material.
You keep the scientific word cold material keeps getting piled on top of one another, and then eventually you freeze to death like Miss Chameleon.
Oh yeah, Miss Chameleon turns into an icicle and she shatters.
Yeah, she falls over and shatters, but she also has this little happy look on her face.
I think she's ready.
She's so happy.
There's something I think it's just the fact that nobody feels vindictive to each other at all in this episode.
That's it. That's what it is. They all care about each other. Nobody's angry or weird about each other.
They should be, because they're all experiencing bodily harm in this way, and putting Miss Chameleon through the fears, phobias to be afraid of. But there's no venom out of one another. There's no vitriol.
We're just all having a good old time. Miss Chameleon, she is getting she's getting help. They're helping her. It's just nice.
By gosh, she's ready now, says Windsor. So they're bringing her to her final test in a donut box. She's just in a little donut box that Jake is carrying. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah.
She's a little lizard, you see.
I was kind of wondering if there would be little donuts in there with her.
But no. Maybe she ate the donuts.
There wasn't.
You don't know. Maybe they were dirt nuts. Ooh. It wasn't a dirt nut. It wasn't a dirt nut box though, so we can't really say for certain.
I love dirt nuts. I wish I could have a dirt nut right now.
Well, we're on the clock here, Gert. Come on, keep up with the program.
Yeah, come on, get your head out of the cloud. So they take her to a little studio, and she's back in front of a camera with that same actor from all those years before, but he's got a little salt and pepper hair now. And she's
salt and pepper hair.
I just thought that was a nice touch that he looks a little older. She's like, I can't do this. This is the one thing I can't. So she turns to the color of the curtain behind her, and Adam's like, nope, and he changes the color of the curtain, and then Jake also does so every time Miss Chameleon switches, and they go back and forth a few times, and she's like, all right, gloves are off. I'm gonna figure this out. So then it's just a lot of colors, a lot of switching. This goes on for a while. It goes on for, according to some time cards, hours, and then till the next day.
And then the day after that.
And it happens. Yes.
And then eventually Miss Chameleon has entered a world of color. She's changing these different patterns. It's not just solid colors anymore. It's these floral patterns, these please stand by, those things that they put on a screen when
in the 70s, yeah.
They're off air. That's flashing across her. She's like, I can't stop.
And they decide, the director is impressed, and he says, oh, you're just what we're looking for. Cut to a big billboard of Miss Chameleon and at a big movie theater.
She looks so darling.
All the gang is there to watch. She does. I'm really proud of her, and they're.
I really
excited.
love the faces of Miss Chameleon in this episode. I mean, I always say that whenever Miss Chameleon is on, but I think she always has the best faces, the best expressions. They know how to draw for her. They draw some good stuff for her.
They really do. I I don't think we mentioned it, but in the flashback of Miss Chameleon, I really appreciated the little hairdo that they gave her.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
Like,
she's
young
like,
Miss
different.
Chameleon, or her frill, her fringe, it's got like little the perked up thing, like 50s hair, that was a nice detail. Oh,
But Miss Chameleon, everybody's impressed. She ends up living her dream, becoming a star.
they're in the movie theater. For some reason, like Mr. Mandrill is there, and just like in the background there, kind of. I guess they needed
He wants
someone
to
to fill a
support.
seat, but I feel like they wanted to put Mr. Mandrill in this episode, but they held off on it because I'll be honest, I'll say it. I liked Mr. Mandrill for a while, but I've been getting my fill of him these past few episodes.
You really fold up on the guidance counselor.
I'm saying
wisdom
enough is
shtick.
enough. Give the man a vacation. I don't want to see him.
Hey PF, I'm getting a little tired. I think I'm gonna go lie down in my office.
Sure, Maurice. Take the load off. I am too.
Yeah, neither of us are gonna appear for a while. We're gonna take naps. Sleepy time for these two characters.
Oh god, how I wish it were true.
They're gonna be watching a movie. I like this obviously pointed dated reference that Slips makes where oh boy, I hope it has a computer animated penguin around the time that Happy Feet came out in theaters.
We'll be back with y'all about the next episode. We're gonna take a quick break and watch Happy Feet.
Wait, we didn't even say the way it ended.
The most important part.
So they're gonna watch it. Miss Chameleon is just in a commercial for Rainbow Sugar Animal Tweets, because she can turn rainbow colors, and that's what the director was talking about. She's not actually in a movie. Okay, break time. Time to watch Happy Feet.
Alright, we'll be back. We're gonna watch Happy Feet.
Next time on My Gym Partner, the podcast.
I wish Happy Feet
Happy
2
Feet.
would come out. I haven't seen the
It
first
already
one.
did come out. What do you mean?
Wait, what?
Happy Feet 2 has been out for years.
That's not true. There's not a second
It is.
one.
There is. It has Baby Mumbo and.
Are you thinking of Happy Feet 3, Gert?
Yeah, Happy Feet 3 hasn't come out yet, but Happy Feet 2 came out.
I didn't know.
We should watch
you
it.
wanna
We
watch
should watch Happy Feet 2. I'm gonna look this
I
up.
like Happy Feet. I thought Happy Feet 2 was okay.
Oh, just okay. Well, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I didn't really care for Mumbo Jr. That's not his name. Before people write in the comments, no, that's not his name. It's Mumbo.
Oh, you better not rile the Happy Feet community.
I don't know what the name of the kid is, though. I'm sure he has an actual name, not Mumbo Jr.
I like the imagery from Happy Feet of a seal fucking just about to eat a penguin.
Well, the cool thing about Happy Feet is that it kind of derails completely into an anti overfishing message pretty quickly. At first it's penguins, they dance, they sing to attract their mates, and all these penguins are singing pop songs, and this penguin's weird because he dances, he doesn't sing. And then he goes on this quest to try and I don't know, he got banished, I forget. And then he finds humans, and he's like, oh my god, humans, they're overfishing, and we're not having as much fish. And then they form a fucking dance mob, and they use it to attract the attention of the humans. And then
There are humans in the Happy
Yes, there's
Feet?
humans in Happy Feet. It's really weird. It really derails.
I remember distinctly that they capture him for the zoo and stuff, and then
Yeah, he's in the zoo.
and I remember the zoo scenes feeling like a dream because you couldn't see any of the people's faces, and they were all behind the green screens of the aquarium, so it all felt like a dream sequence. But that happened in the movie.
That's scary.
Wait, I'm gonna find out what the name of the baby, what Mumble's son is named. What's Mumble's son's name?
What's Happy Feet 2 even about? Didn't they already accept that the little fucker can dance?
Yeah, but he has a kid now.
What?
And, the kid I just know that there's like a plot where like the kid doesn't respect the dad, and then there's a puffin named Sven. I remember that.
A goofy movie, an extremely goofy movie, but it's Happy Feet too.
I think the kid's name was Eric, and I think that sucks.
That sucks. That's a shitty name for a penguin.
This is like his like parents are named like Mumble and Gloria, and his mom is named like Norma Jean.
Because he
in
fucking
Memphis.
got influenced by them white people that called him, and they call him Eric.
What are you talking?
Probably heard like a little boy say.
And he looks just like Mumble when he was a kid, so they didn't even have to make a new model for the movie.
Was this a direct-to-DVD?
No, it came out in theaters. I saw it in theaters.
Kidding me? That's crazy.
You know, I'll be honest, like, I didn't check out Happy Feet. I loved the first Happy Feet, but I did not check out Happy Feet 2 at all. And, like, I just saw, like on the cover of Happy Feet 2, like, you know, Lovelace, right? Like, the penguin, the emperor penguin. He's got, like, a sweater vest on, right? I thought, because of that it was an Easter movie. Like, it was a movie about Easter for some reason, and I never, like, went to confirm if it was or not. You know, I didn't even, like, confirm that until now. So, hey, is it an Easter movie?
No, it's not an Easter movie. Stupid.
Wait, Lovelace?
Yeah, that's his name. Because he's, like, the matchmaking penguin.
This isn't an emperor penguin.
What? Isn't he? He's got the yellow, like, things.
That's not an emperor penguin.
Maybe he's a little small for an emperor penguin, but he's still got that.
No!
Well, he's
Emperor penguins are huge, and they
Emperor
look...
penguins is what Mumble is. I think you're thinking of something else.
This is a Raffrot penguin or
Yeah,
something.
that's what it is.
Well, I thought
Right?
I don't think it's called a Raffrot.
No,
Hold
those.
on, I found a chart.
I thought like that was like Mumble's little friends, the one voiced by Robin Williams and stuff. But I thought like the yellow head guy was like the emperor
penguin is that's what you would think of when you think of penguin.
Oh yeah, like the March of the
And then
Penguins.
like third or fourth is what little Robin Williams was, I think. Whatever. What?
Yeah,
I just
yeah, they're
remember
the Adele
Robin Williams
penguin.
Robin Williams penguin had to get rocks.
Man, I'm really off the ball with my animal facts corner.
God, why do we even start that?
I think you were rock copper. That's what it is. That's what Lovelace is, a rock copper.
Are we gonna keep in this like discussion?
I'll edit it down.
Okay, good.
And now back to the show.
My Feral Lyon.
My
What a
feral
name.
lion.
Let me tell y'all a story. Adam Lyon wants to join an after-school activity club. There are so many options, though, such as the club known as the Guys Named Dickie, which Dickie's Sugar Jumper is the proud president of, assumedly. But he could also join the Hibernators. There's, like, some dumpster diving people. But what... I wrote in my notes, what is Jake wearing?
Yeah.
I like how you're starting this out like a summary on the back of a kid's book, like for Frindle or something.
Frindle.
You know what? Hold on. While we're talking about Frindle was right.
While we're talking
Hey,
about
that kid Frindle, he was right.
What?
Words are stupid, and you should be able to make them up. It doesn't matter.
What was Frindle about?
So Frindle was a children's book, and I don't know the specifics. It's been like
just
over
the
10
cover
years
of
since
the
I read
boy
it.
holding a
But-
pencil.
No, he's holding a pen, and it's specifically like to annoy his teacher or something. He's like, you know, this right here, and he holds up the pen, is a frindle. And the teacher's like, no, it's not. That's not a word, and that's stupid. And then he got like the whole school to start calling pens frindles. That's as much as I remember, but I think he was right. I think frindle was right.
God,
No,
what
yeah,
a
it's
nothing
definitely
idea for an entire book.
No, I liked it. I read the whole thing. I thought it was like
Yeah.
I was like, wow, this radicalized me. And now I'm trans. So there's
Now
that.
I'm trans and a socialist because of Frindle. And that's the power of literature, y'all. It could change you.
Also, I now happen to be talking about an episode of My Gym Partner's a Monkey, but I don't think that caused that.
Go to your banned book section of your library and pick up Frindle today.
Okay, yeah, so, like, summarized, Adam's, like, being ordered to, like, join, like, a school club. It's the school club episode, except not really.
Except not at all, not fun at all, because usually with a school club episode, it's like you get to try all the different wacky clubs, and there's, like, hijinks in each of them, but Jake is wearing a hat.
Look, we gotta be blunt about this, and I'm sorry for this, but he is just straight up wearing a leather daddy outfit.
He is. It's the worst. And Adam is like,
why
are you doing
this? You look kind of gay. Like, Adam was about to say that.
Adam was. And Jake is like, well, I'm all really into fashion. Fashion world's all that matters. And a little, like, scanner comes up on the screen and scans the fashion-o-meter. And it says he's very not fashionable.
He's cold. Cold fashion
cold.
Victim.
Cold.
And Adam is, Jake is confused. He's like, oh, why do you even want to do, like, after-school activities anyway? And Adam's like, well, it looks great on my college application. And he holds up a piece of paper that says, Clown College.
It's a great screen cap for you to use
really
for,
is.
like,
Really
a reply or something. But it's also, like, just, like, that's just a great gag in general. That's just a great visual gag in regards to Adam.
Isn't that what he wants to do? Like,
does he want to go to
like,
clown college?
I feel like he wants to be a clown because he likes Captain Clowny.
That might be true. I think it's just very funny because it's just so sad. And also, after the fact, like, Jake is like, well, you already go to a middle school with animals. Like, it's too late for college. Like, there's nothing you can do.
You are just completely... You are at the whim of society now. Like, you are just not going to make it in anything, Adam Line. It's too late for you. Give up.
I'm so glad they're, like, just in these, like, late season episodes, they're just addressing our, like, fears from the beginning of the of this show. Our, like, expectations of, like, how Adam would, like, live his life. It's just, they're just laying it out thick and bluntly in these episodes.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Adam has no future. Like, his life is going downhill because he went to an animal school for middle school. Like, he's never gonna get into high school. It's just, it's terrible. But as they're walking around, there's this, like, joke that makes a reoccurrence, so that's why I have to mention it, where, Jake mentions he wants some, like, seatless chaps.
Can't say assless chaps.
No, can't say assless. And Adam is like, well, all chaps are seatless, so, like, you don't really need to say seatless. And he's like, and chaps are dumb, don't wear them, and a cowboy walks by, is really offended.
Oof.
So
I feel like that conversation came from, like, a conversation that one of the writers had or something, or they're just
like,
talking.
You should. No, go on.
They just really want to make a point that, like, all chaps are assless chaps. There isn't a such thing as, like, a seated chap.
Like, somebody in the writer's room was like, and then he'll say, like, he wants some, like, seatless chaps or something, and then someone's like,
actually,
technically, all chaps are seatless, so I don't think you really need to, like, emphasize the fact that they're seatless. And then he sits down, and he walks out of the room, and that man, that was Albert Einstein.
And then they, like, have, like, a conversation about, like,
What?
What? What are you talking about?
Look, we gotta move on.
Yeah, we gotta...
Jake and Adam are walking around, and they happen to see a group of characters that I love a lot.
Who are they?
You could say there are a few cool cats.
Hey.
You could say that they're a couple of cats.
All alone in the
moonlight. Cats, 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 cats. Meow, 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 meow. Meow.
Now I feel guilty that I didn't watch Cats 2019, so I can make more like pointed jokes about it. I feel I don't know anything about cats.
How do we not know anything about cats?
All I know is that it's really horny, even the musical.
I feel like it's a movie that we need to see more than anything. Like,
you just really want to see it so badly.
It just seems like it would be such a good movie.
I don't know about that. Anyway, these cats have leather jackets. They got slicked back hair, and the back of their jackets read the Ferals, which I think is a very cool gang name.
Yeah.
And Jake is very enamored by him because he wants their jackets. He thinks it will complete his ensemble.
Yeah, his leather ensemble. And they're not even being subtle at all with that.
They just want him to
look
He's
like
gay!
that, I guess.
He's gay! Did you know?
Did you know Jake Spider Monkey's gay?
Whoa! Whoa! Really? Wow, I didn't know. You know,
we just want to make an episode about it.
We can't, because it's 2000 whatever.
It's 2006 now.
Yeah, imagine
6. Jesus Christ.
God, we need to get a revamp of My Gym Partner's a Monkey where they can be undeniably yes, Jake is gay. This is what we're going for. This is
they can air it as a mini series on Adult Swim, and then Adam can
no, it's on Cartoon
kill
Network.
Animals.
It's on Cartoon Network. It's fine because Steven Universe, they had a gay wedding. Why not have a gay little spider monkey?
I feel like maybe they would draw the line at a literal animal being gay. I think they would maybe think that was in poor taste of some kind.
Maybe
no, it's fine. It's fine.
Especially with a character as awful as Jake.
Yeah. Yeah, do you want that to be the gay representation that we get?
Well, hold on. Let me be the contrarian here, We can't have a gay character that's squeaky clean, We gotta
they gotta have problems.
well-rounded gay characters.
They gotta have problems.
Real characters here. A monkey who will undeniably show their ass at every opportune moment.
Right.
Representation. Let's keep going with this. Let's move on.
We need representation of all kinds.
We didn't need to go into this.
It's okay. I forgive all of you. The Ferals are an elusive club to Adam and Jake. Jake is hey, Adam, you should join that club. Get me a jacket. Yeah, because you're a cat, you're a lion, meow. And Adam's I don't want to pull the lion card. It never works. Nobody ever believes that.
I really like that phrase, pull the lion card.
I'm not going to pull the lion card. It never
just because his last name is Lion, people think oh you're a lion, right? You got special lion privilege. It's just no, I don't want to pull that out. Nobody believes me even. I'm just a human. Come on.
Come on, Jake, leave me alone.
But he eggs them on, and of course they do it, but not without well, those are feral cats, Jake. Don't you remember that announcement, that PSA that we had in school, and flashbacks it's a presentation on stage with Coach Gill singing, and Mr. Horace on the clarinet, and Mr. Mandrill in the background doing some interpretive dances, hissing, this what made me realize, hey, we can do some topical comedy about the Cats movie.
That's right.
This is the point where we realize that's the joke that we are going to do this episode. That's the one we're going with, baby.
How does Coach Gill's song? It's don't talk to cats, feral cats. Like they'll steal all your stuff.
Don't talk to
Kill
cats. They'll fuck you up and they'll steal your wife.
Never talk to feral cats. They take and make you cry. Never do it or else you'll die.
Die.
I don't want to die!
Come on, Jake. I don't want to talk to them. They're feral cats. Come on, Adam. Get the jacket, Adam. I feel like Jake is kind of like Adam's little devil, you know?
He is a devil.
Like in Dr. Faustus.
Who?
I've talked about Dr.
What?
Faustus.
What the fuck is
know,
Dr. Faustus?
What do you mean, what the fuck is Dr. Faustus?
The literary...
It's a classic. Yeah, it's a literary classic. What's wrong with you?
I guess I'm not cultured. Like you said.
It's about a scientist bookman who's like, I've learned everything I can in this mortal realm. I need to go further beyond. I need to deal in dark black magic. And then he's got like two shoulder angels that are like, you know, doing the, no, don't do it, Faustus. Yes, do it. Summon the demon Mephistopheles and stuff like that. You know.
Anyway, that's what Jake is.
Yeah, that's what Jake is.
Damn. That's a good one. That's a reference.
So he does it, of course. Of course, Adam joins the feral cat. I'd like to join your social club, please.
It takes him. It takes him a while. There's a lot of build up towards him just like getting to the point and just joining the fucking gang of cats.
And he doesn't even really do that. Like, they kind of bring him around for a few things, but like he's not really in it. He doesn't even get to wear a jacket like for the whole episode.
It's just kind of,
which is the lamest part.
It's just kind of Adam being like, should I go? Should I not? Cats, 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 cats.
Well, like I wrote in my notes here to describe Adam. Adam is such a chump in this episode, like more so than usual. So the feral cats are like, all right, you know, like hold this stuff for us, because they're like stripping Principal Pixie Frog's car.
Yeah.
And Miss Warthog in like a police uniform like walks over and she's just like, hey, like, what are you doing with all, like, are you gonna rearrange this in Principal Pixie Frog's office? You know, is it like a cool club prank? And Adam's like, yes. And she's like, oh, the Dicky Club already did it, so like think of something more original. Okay, bye, and leaves. And the cats are like, oh, I see you can, you know, get past the school cop. You will be useful to us.
It should be mentioned that, like, at the beginning of the episode, this was built up. Like, the marquee in front of the school says, hog guard on duty or something. And then, like, Miss Warthog is going around with her, like, cop uniform and stuff. And then, like, Jake even, like, mentions that, oh, like, you know, feral cats are, like, you know, being, like, warded off by our new security guard, Miss Warthog. Yeah, and they're not, obviously, because she's, like, shown to be incompetent at that. But, you know, that's made clear. Sorry, I'm losing the momentum here.
It's okay.
It happens.
Renee, we're here for you.
I understand. Sometimes you gotta take a break.
And I will pick up the pieces that you have left. He might be used to us. A is a line that the lead of the gang of cats says, and I wrote it down because I thought it was funny.
He may be used to us.
They all go, A. And so they decide they're going to go through initiation. They, like, take his clothes, like, his, like, gym clothes, his, like, regular clothes and stuff to, like, use his scent to, like, sneak past Miss Warthog. So she's, like, reading a book. It's, 3 Little Pigs.
Yeah.
But, like, on the cover of the book, it's, like, a pig with a heart. So it, like, kind of looks like a romance novel. And she's like, and then the big bad wolf huffed and puffed, and he, like, and blow, and then, like, she stops and, like, sniffs, and she's like, oh, hi Adam, as like the cats are walking in. And I was like, what? Huh? Excuse me.
I don't know. I didn't think anything of it. I just like the idea of, like, a character in a cartoon, like, you know, they're just reading like the 3 Little Pigs to pass the time.
God,
that's funny to me.
I want that to be me when I finally, like, get a job. after this slog of college. I really hope that I'm just, like, sitting around reading Three Little Pigs.
Aloud to yourself.
That's what it's going to be like. I haven't read a novel in so long. I can't wait to read Three Little Pigs.
They go to the library, and Adam's job is to distract the librarian, and he's like, well, why do you want me to do that? And they're like, we want to turn in some overdue books, just, because, we don't want to have to pay for the fee. And Adam's like, all right, but, make sure you just turn them in on time, like, later, okay? It's not really that hard to turn them in on time.
It's not that hard.
It's not that hard. Like, Adam is acting like such a goody-goody, like, I don't know what the hell is going on with him. He's like such a chump in this episode.
He knew what he was getting into.
I mean, it's not like last episode where he was just a total scatterbrain. Here, he's just, whatever. He's just like played more of a mark than he usually is.
He is an oblivious fool.
I feel like this is kind of like a reiteration of the Petting Zoo Kids like episode.
Oh yeah, it is kind of like that. Since he's doing it for Jake's fashion needs.
Why does he agree to this?
That's the sole motive to do any of this.
He just does not want to see Jake and assless chaps that bad.
Okay. Anyway.
Jake always wears no he doesn't wear pants ever.
They steal the books. The Ferals like steal library books, which is like a weird thing for them to want to steal.
Well, they're just stealing everything, but also
I know, but it's weird that that's like the first thing they go for.
Well, like, I mean, school books, they fetch a hefty price.
What else?
Those college textbooks.
What else do you think Charles Darwin Middle School has like of value within its walls?
I think their books might be the only thing they have. The library is pretty impressive, actually. We haven't talked about it, but it's really impressive.
It's weirdly impressive for a school that only eats them. Supposedly.
Sometimes.
It's inconsistent. We'll never know if they eat all their books.
Maybe they only eat special ones.
Special books.
Here's your copy of Nietzsche, kids. Eat it up.
Here's your copy of the fucking Secret Professor or whatever that book was that you talked about, Luce.
Secret You mean Dr. Faustus?
Yeah, that shit.
Faustus.
Yeah, that book, The Nutty Professor or whatever.
that book, the...
Frindle. Anyway,
Frindle.
So they ask Adam to stand guard in front of the faculty lounge. They put a chair in so the teachers can't get out, and Adam is like, oh, okay, I guess I'll stand guard, but what are you guys gonna do? And they're like, oh, we're just gonna, clean up. And he's like, oh, like a surprise. Oh, that's so nice. You guys are cool.
He's such a mark.
He sucks so bad, and Jake walks in after a bit. And I really love this exchange here because he's wearing the jacket now. And I think chaps at the same time.
Yep.
And
it boosts his fashion score. But not by much.
No.
Only by a little bit. It's pathetic, actually.
Where he's like, well, how'd you get that jacket? He's like, oh, I traded my truck to one of those feral kids.
You have a truck?
Adam's like, you had a truck? And he goes, not anymore.
Classic.
It's really good. Where did Jake get a truck?
Jake has a truck.
Well, not
He
anymore.
had a truck.
Had a truck.
The school has been cleaned out. Adam feels like such an idiot. He, I think, literally says, I'm an idiot. And Jake calls after him, you mean well, though.
You mean well, though.
And Adam is like, oh, you guys have to give back all the stuff. He's like, all the ferals are outside, and they're, loading Jake's truck.
They even have all the students in there.
Yeah, they're stealing the students. What?
I kind of forgot that this was, that Like, I forgot about the truck being Jake's at this point. I didn't even think about it being Jake's truck.
Well, it was.
We can't forget. None of you forget that was Jake's truck.
Jake he can fucking go. He can drive.
I mean, he's
he's
been known to drive
driven
stick before.
He has.
Yes.
We watched him in an episode where he had a mustache.
We've
I
watched
still
him
like
grow.
that episode.
It's a good one, I guess.
I guess. So, Adam tries to get the attention of his warhawk, who's, come in, and she's like, oh, well, I'm not actually the security guard. I'm trying out a new look. Uniforms are really in, and the fashion meter comes back, and she's like smoking
Striking
hot
a
or whatever.
pose.
Yeah.
Wait,
It's
what?
great. That's like what the meter says, like smoking
Right,
hot or whatever.
right. That's what the meter said.
No, it's what the meter said, something like that. It was like hot
It's like
because Jake was cold.
it went like epic.
And so Adam takes matters into his own hands, rips the chaps off of Jake, and uses them, ties it to the back of the truck, ties it to like a statue of his
Jake
floor or
covers
something.
up his nudity. He's embarrassed.
And the I guess the leather chaps were enough to keep this big truck full of stuff, and it I think it slingshots back right into the school.
It
and the truck crashes.
slingshots it back directly into Principal Pixie Frog's office, and then he sees all the students, the entire school in his office, and he's like, the really funny prank, stuffing the entire school into my office. These club initiations. Anyway, I kind of like that, the end note here is not so drastic. It's like, you brought in the Feral Lyon. Well, you know what that means, and we just get another presentation of I can't keep calling it Maurice, Mr. Mandrill.
I can't believe this is a problem right now.
I don't know why. I just my first instinct is to call him Maurice. I don't know why.
It's because you just know him so well.
No, I don't. He's a cartoon character.
You just know.
I don't
him
know his
really
life.
well, Renee. He's like.
Shut up.
Jake is now wearing a uniform like Mrs. Warthog. He's a slave to the trends. The end.
Well,
and then the ending credits gag is just Jake and Adam with their tongues out, like the Rainbow Sweets thing from the previous episode, and they're giggling.
They're just
That's it.
Yeah, there's a reason why we haven't mentioned a lot of the end credit gags. It's because they're just like that.
They have
because they suck.
They haven't been that.
I mean, fair enough, but I mean, when you had in the beginning some pretty good ones, like the lion one, that was an end credit gag where the lion was talking about no lions were harmed in the, or no lions would do that, and then he gets attacked by the homeless person at
That's
the end
right.
of it.
Oh God,
That
maybe
these end credit gags used to be so good.
maybe it's around the point in time where Cartoon Network just kind of went on to the next episode and they skipped them, so they stopped caring as much about them.
God, cartoons keep doing this. They've produced corporations. They just want to put out their adverts and stuff and whatnot, and just keep crushing the art of end credits. There's some good art to end credits, not just the art itself, or the music swelling up, getting a break after watching a nice episode, but just seeing all the people who worked on it now. Even so, we got even on Netflix and stuff, on streaming services where you don't have to watch ads or anything on them. It's just the episode, or you can watch the credits. They just skip the credits. You just make you skip the credits.
It annoys me. I'll skip the credits if I want to. Let me make the decision. Don't just do it for me. Like, sometimes I'll finish a movie and I just kind of want to, like, hang out in the credits for a little bit. But I can't do that because then Netflix, like, makes it small and then shows me an ad for some stupid shit I don't care about.
It's just like, don't you
Like-
want to watch this thing? And it's like, Louis C.K. strikes back.
Louis C.K. back again.
Louis C.K.
Back.
Not racist no more, brother.
Well, I thought those episodes were pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like the first one more, which is technically the second one in like the actual like order, not the Boomerang order. But A Midsummer Night's Fear, or what was it called? Oh jeez, I'm forgetting it already.
Mid-semester's life's something.
Mid-semester's live stream. Yeah, that's just it. But that I think really shows like how late season Cartoon Network shows around this time just went off the wall. They just did not care, and like that's fun in its own way. Like I've always had this like trouble in myself with when I watched like Billy and Mandy, like specifically in my memory. I was just like, man, like this used to be a show about just like having like supernatural adventures, like really specifically about that with like the Grim Reaper, and he would do something and stuff. But now it's just like Grim's having a nightmare about like a dream about being in his house with his beautiful wife, and it's like a Talking Heads reference.
Baby?
Billy? I mean,
Baby? Aren't we,
There's-
Billy? I mean, baby?
Cartoons are out there. They're wild. This no man's land.
Cartoons are whack. Wacky. Silly.
Wow, welcome to the wacky whack whack. Welcome to the
Okay,
whack.
who wants to talk about some fan art? Gert, why don't you talk about our first one?
Yeah! This first piece of fan art comes from @SludgeEater. I've been stewing with this for ages, so I attempted to drew. My gym partner's a monkey in Beastar style. Probably not the worst thing I've drawn, but hey, apologies to my gym partner's a podcast anyhow. And here we
Why?
Don't
Why
ever
you
Don't
apologize?
apologize for this. This is wonderful.
I really like this actually. I love how frightening some of these characters are. I love Lupe and Ingrid here. By the way, I wanted to mention no sight of like Lupe or Ingrid in any of these episodes lately.
Oh, it's been a
Yeah,
while.
where have they been?
This principal pixie frog specifically, I'm looking at him and I love the way he looks. It's really cute.
It looks very dull.
I really like that because Slips has like a tail body that he has to have like his little skirt. I think it's very cute.
Mm-hmm.
Like just I just love this. The energy behind this pic is amazing. You put so much love and care into making these characters look like they're from Beastars. It's so good.
Really love the frightening Jake there. Like the additional like.
What are you looking at?
But this is like very nicely rendered, and it's a good job. Thank you, Sludge Eater, for
Thank-
this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is a picture from @anti_Bravo Man, who says Principal Pixie Frog real ? Exclamation point ? Exclamation point ? Exclamation point ? At my gym
Right.
partners a podcast. At my gym partners a podcast. At my gym partners a podcast. And it is a picture of a pixie frog in a cage of some sort. I'm assuming.
A little tank.
Yeah, a little tank at some sort of pet store or something. It is being sold for, I think, I can't tell, the picture's too blurry, $89.99 is what I'm guessing.
It's so specific about it. Man, I can't believe they made Principal Pixie Frog a real thing. Man,
Can't believe they made Principal Pixie Frog a real thing.
this is a lovely little specimen. I remember way back when like my mall like around like my town used to be bumping. There was like a little like pet kiosk. It wasn't like its own like pet store. It was like, you know, like those little stands that like people set up that's mostly just like perfume stands or like phone case stands or whatever. There was one for like pets and stuff, and like
Like hermit crabs and stuff.
Yeah, there would be some hermit crabs, I think, but it was mostly like exotic pets. Like I remember specifically seeing like a Pac-Man frog in one of like the tanks, and I was like, "Oh, that is so cool."
I love Pac-Man frogs. They're huge and fat.
They're lovely. They're lovely creatures. But thank you, Anti, for these images of like these real pixie frogs, reminding us that there's beauty in our natural world. That reminds us of a cartoon character from a Cartoon Network show from the early 2000s. And
Alright, Renee, it's up to you.
Right. I didn't think we would actually be talking about this one, but I'm sorry. At Egg Dragoon Stan sends us this video of Jake Spider Monkey just flying, like ass billowing in the wind. This classic GIF
God.
that I
From
captured.
the asbestos episode.
Yeah.
From the asbestos episode. Just like he's flying through the wind as like SpongeBob music is playing in the background. It presents a feeling. There's a feeling to this. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but I think one word is anxious. It's an anxious feeling, but I enjoy this. I was reading about like people talking about Klaus the movie, and like like people talking about like James Baxter again, and like I thought of this Jake because of that joke we were talking about. Remember when like
Yes, we made that joke where it was animated by James Baxter.
I mean, who knows? It could have been. I don't know.
It could have been at James Baxter. Did you animate this part of my gym partner's a monkey? I feel like you did.
You must have.
Please,
we have
please
to
nobody
review.
send that to him. I don't want that to be on him. I don't want him
Me
to
either.
know that I
I don't want
exist.
him to know about us. I would feel embarrassed. Anyway, here's a comment from Dirt Child McGee. The day after I caught up, a new episode. Neat. Adam's breakdown at the end felt very Ren and Stimpy. It's somewhat unsettling. XD. This podcast has been such a joy. On one hand, I don't want it to end, but I also don't wish that much suffering on you guys. Lol. There's something about shows like My Gym Partner's a Monkey that I tend to get attached to. Fairly mediocre, forgettable, probably not even that good, but with some hidden gems. So if y'all want recommendations for charmingly meh shows, I'm your guy.
Ooh.
Well, thank you for
you.
Well,
catching up. You had a lot to listen to.
We're going into uncharted territory after we're done with this podcast, so we don't know. We're still discussing it.
We got some charted territory.
Me and
We're not
Lucy
doing
have
that.
a map
We're-
and everything. Like,
But Renee's like refusing to go. See, Gert and I are like Lewis and Clark, and Renee's over here like Columbus in like 1624. Like, world's flat. I don't even know what up is down. And me and Gert are shaking our heads like, come on.
come on, we
Get
know
in
it.
the canoe. Let's go.
They didn't even believe that the world was flat around that time. It
I
was
know,
commonly
I
believed
know.
that
It's
it
an
was like
analogy,
cool.
Renee, about how
don't
you don't
care.
want to do our very
I-
good idea.
I don't care for your analogy, and I don't care for doing in a row of something.
That's
I'm
gonna give it
bleeping
away.
that.
You have to.
I'm leaving that. So, thank you. I would actually very much like it if you could just list out some funny things. Maybe we could do like a one-off of an episode of one of those things. That'd be kind of fun. Anyway, thank you for catching up.
This was sent in by Lucy Wren. Not you.
Imposter.
Imposter. It took me a couple of weeks to get here, but I'm all caught up on My Gym Partners, a podcast. Sincerely, thank you three and all of your guests for somehow immortalizing one of my favorite shows as a kid in this way, even if, in retrospect, I realize it's really not as good as I thought it was. Y'all are awesome! Hey, thank you! How does it feel listening to us non-stop for weeks on end? Because I'm trying to, like, wrap my head around, like listening to my own voice for weeks and weeks at a time, and
Well, you wouldn't. That person, Lucy Grin, wouldn't be listening to their own voice. They'd be listening to our voices, which is even worse.
yeah.
Well, thank you for catching up. And hey, I'll say this. You know, we joke around, we poke fun because, you know, I do genuinely think the show is pretty mediocre. But hey, you shouldn't discredit if it was your favorite show as a kid, or if you still like it now, then, like, that's great. Like, you should say that with pride. You should be like, yeah, you know what? It's probably not the best, but I still like it. That's kind of how I view the show. I think it's kind of fun sometimes. I really liked these 2 episodes because of how weird they were, and like, not their usual weirdness, and their, like, kind of meta weirdness.
Yeah, we definitely have had some fun here with this episode, and I think there's still more to go with, like, the weird fun. We're still in late season, so, like, you know, I think you'll get a positive tune out of us from these few episodes. I hope I don't eat my own words after saying
I
that.
know, watch the next ones be horrible.
Nah. But you know, thank you for listening to us, for liking what we do. We hope, you know, we can give some nice pointed commentary over these next few episodes. Just, you know, talk about what it's like. I was gonna say something else, but I forgot. Oh yeah, you know, if you're gonna say with pride that you like My Gym Partner's a Monkey, I'm gonna say with pride, hey, I like the Secret Saturdays. You know, sure, it's
I
like,
you were gonna say I like My Gym Partner's a Monkey.
Oh god, no. But
just gonna talk about your Well, I'll say it. I like Code Lyoko. Love that show.
we all got our shows. We all got our shows that we like from, like, the mid 2000s, around there, that, you know, maybe don't hold up to this day, like, really at all, but, like, they hold a special place in our hearts for, like, what the potential they had, and, like, what they filled our mind with like, those possibilities and those adventures that we could have in cartoon worlds, how we could, like, express ourselves in our interests, whether it be random, like, animal biology facts and humor, or, you know, digital, like, scapes of, like, weird abstract monsters that are fought by, like, teenagers also trying to go to school, or a family of cryptozoologists fighting, like, some random, like, guy with a skeleton mask that goes meh and shoots bugs at them.
Greetings and bienvenue, Saturdays. I am Vivi August, and I'm going to throw fucking bugs at you. Yeah!
WT writes, knowing next episode is the one I've hinted at, I hope you enjoy it. For oh magical rainbow lizard, I love you. Oh magical rainbow lizard, I love you. That's a thing that Charleston Festoon says in that. Incidentally, on a range of 1 to 10, 1 being okay and 10 being total fud-rucking mad, how thoroughly broken would each of you say Adam Lyon's psyche is at this point? Oh,
100.
11. It's he's far gone.
I think he is gone, but he's not quite. We have not reached I think we are at the tipping point. I think we are right at the edge right now. Like, something dangerous is going to happen soon. So I'll agree, 11.
Dangerous.
Yeah, something dangerous is happening, because he is not quite, like, he is now just conforming. He is, like, kind of forcing himself to accept his fate, accept his role in this school, and he's like, I'm just here now.
His skin
I'm
is
here. I'm on the
leathery.
tip. His skin is leathery. He thinks he has hooves.
God.
Like, after being bombarded with, like, so much, like, grief and physical pain for, like, not conforming to this animal world that he's now in, for, like, not being for being the butt of the joke of, like, you know, not, like, agreeing with these weird, like, animal rituals and whatnot, he's just, like, forced to, like, you know, contort his mind to fit in and just, like, accept all these things without question.
I'm excited to see where we go from here. Next 2 episodes are going to be Robo Frog 3000 and the Ivy League. See you all then.
Oh,
This has been fun.
I'm especially excited for the Ivy League because that's gonna be a bit of a role reversal where Jake is gonna get a taste of his own Charles Darwin Middle School. Charles Darwin Middle School being a metaphor for hell. This has been My Gym Partners, a podcast, and opening 2020 here with this episode, year of the rat, but also year of the cats.
Meow.
Meow, 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 meow,
I'm Lucy.
I'm Gert. Meow.
And I'm Renee.
Meow, meow,
Meow, meow, meow, meow,
Meow. This is
meow.
My Gym Partners, a
Sex.
podcast.
Meow.
Cats have
Meow,
lots
meow,
of sex.
meow,
Stop.
meow, 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 meow.